Hello guys, it's me Daniel96 back here for another video, and today we'll be making our finals week 1 predictions of the 2024 AFL season. So just like that, the home and away season is done. It took 207 games, but we have finally made it, and the 8 is locked in. And wow, there was a thrilling last round to finish things off, but yeah, tipping wise we did really well. We got 8 out of 9 tips correct. And yeah, let's have a look. So starting with the first one, we all thought Collingwood were going to win, and they did. And then down here was probably one of the most boring Saturdays you could ever watch. Hawthorn easily won, Geelong easily won, Gold Coast, we all tipped them to win, and they did. And down here, Brisbane, we all thought they were going to win, and they did. And of course, Sydney getting the job done against Adelaide. Then we looked down here, and it was such a thrilling round to end off, and yeah, the Bulldogs in such windy conditions got it done, which locked themselves into the 8. And down here, this has to be one of the most craziest games that we've seen in quite some time. All Carlton had to do was win, and they couldn't after Jack Higgins kicked that sealing goal. And wow, that made things very interesting for the last game. And yeah, I did tip Freo just because I wanted to see them at least make finals. But Port with a very impressive win, which obviously I'm very happy about, and they lock in a top 2 spot. So you can see the ladder up here. It's very interesting. Collingwood missed out, and considering Collingwood had 2 draws, that definitely costed them. And yeah, Fremantle missed their chance. They had it all on their hands, but yeah, they couldn't get the win. And as you can see, the predicted versus actual margins, and yeah, you can see some results were way off, but there were some that were really close, and particularly that Geelong vs West Coast game. It was a very big margin, but we were 1 point away, which is kind of impressive. I was really surprised about that. But yeah, all the other results somewhat close, and yeah, that sums it up. Yeah, that is the last time we're going to see the 9 games like that for the year. And just like that, we are heading towards finals. So yeah, let's predict the first week of the finals. So here we are. Yeah, what the season's been, and this is just the beginning. From here things are going to get crazy. We might see some massive upsets within these final series. I don't know who's going to win, honestly. This is probably the closest season we've ever had, and it makes tipping such a nightmare. But yeah, first of all, I want to start talking about the fixturing. Although Sydney finished first, I don't know why they got the Saturday afternoon slot. I feel like those 2 teams should be the first games playing, but as a Port fan, I don't mind having this game as being the first one on the Thursday night. So yeah, let's have a look. It's between Port Adelaide and Geelong, playing in the second qualifying final on the Thursday night at Adelaide Oval. And wowee, this is going to be massive. Can't wait for this one, of course. I am a Port supporter, so this one will be huge. And we're facing against the Cats. So yeah, this is our 3rd qualifying final against them in the past 4 years at home. So yeah, it's been very consistent, and yeah, I just can't wait. Geelong had a thumping win against the West Coast Eagles to boost their percentage, and yeah, it locked themselves into 3rd spot. So who knows, it might be good for them, it might be bad for them, but it meant that they would have had to either versus Sydney or Port away from home. And yeah, as for Port, I was just really surprised by the way they turned around their season. If you told me after round 18 that they were going to finish 2nd, I would have not believed you, but they have, and they are in a pretty good position at home. The last time these 2 teams met was in round 9, where Port got over the line by just a goal at GMHBA, which was their first win since 2007 there. So yeah, they meet at the Adelaide Oval, and I honestly think this will be a really even contest. It's just the way the finals are played, and yeah, there's going to be a lot of pressure built on both of these teams. And I don't think it will be a high scoring game. I think this will be a much more low scoring affair. But yeah, I think there will be some momentum plays that will sway towards one team or another. But yeah, as of late, Port have looked really strong. They've just handled pressure really well. I mean, they do well in the close games. They can keep themselves composed, and I mean that's been a massive thing for them. And as for the Cats, I mean they can pull off anything. They can, yeah. They are sometimes a threat away from home, and when they are a threat, they're hard to stop. But yeah, as for tipping this game, it's going to be a close one, as I said. I think it'll be a low scoring affair, and yeah, this one is one to watch for sure. Whoever goes through prelim, which will be massive. But yeah, for this game, I just think the way that this team has gone about their past few weeks, they've handled pressure, they've played really well on the field. I'm going to tip Port Adelaide to get this win and to win the qualifying final and make themselves go through towards another prelim, which will have some questions. But yeah, I'm going to predict Port to win this first game in this second qualifying final by 16 points. And I'm rating this game a 97. This one's going to be massive. Now looking at the Friday night game, and this might be, yeah, it probably is the biggest finals game of this round. Where do we start? Yeah, this one. Really, this is the most 50-50 final I've ever seen. It's between the Western Bulldogs and Hawthorn, playing at the G in what is going to be a sold out match in front of 90,000 plus fans. I mean, yeah, halfway through the season, it was hard to see them making the 8, but they were just climbing, and eventually they are in the 8. And yeah, it's been impressive by both these teams. I would say particularly Hawthorn, after starting off 0-5 to their season. I mean, I thought they were going to be like the worst team of the season, but they've proven me wrong big time. And yeah, same with the Bulldogs. I mean, they've really surprised me. I mean, yeah, I thought it was just going to be another year for them where they'll finish, 10th, 11th, or 12th. But yeah, they impressed me again. And after some backfires from the coach and yeah, stuff with media, I mean, yeah, they've proven all of us wrong. But yeah, the Bulldogs, starting off with them, they had a great win against the Giants at Mars Stadium. It was very windy conditions, so it was just really hard to get the boot on ball, and yeah, challenging conditions, but they got through that challenge and managed to beat the Giants, which yeah, locked themselves in that finals position. And as for Hawthorn, I mean, yeah, they just had a smashing win against North. I mean, I know it was against North, but still, to beat them by, I think, 124 points in Tasmania, that's really impressive. And continuously, they just look so damaging. They just can't be stopped anywhere. And yeah, I don't know how this game is gonna go. I mean, all the same thing happened. Now, the last time they met was, I think, back in May, and yeah, the Bulldogs actually lost that one against the Hawks by 7 points or 8 points. But yeah, it definitely caused some concern for the Bulldogs, and they were under fire for, you know, winning a game that they should have won. Although, looking back at it now, I mean, Hawthorn were just a great team. So yeah, I think this final will be massive. This one will be huge. It's an elimination final. It's, yeah, whoever goes, it's going to be huge. It's going to be huge for the finals. I mean, I can see both these teams going all the way, but yeah, one of them has to go. And this one was really hard to tip. And all I can say is that we're just going to have to find out on the day, because really, I don't know what can happen from here. We could see a Bulldogs close game win, or we could see just a smashing by Hawthorn. But for this elimination final, I am going to tip a very close game, and I am going to tip Hawthorn to get this win. I could see both these teams winning. They're just that good. But I'm going to predict Hawthorn to get over the line in a really close game by 3 points, and I have to rate this game a 98. I mean, this one is huge, like massive. And in the end, one of these teams has to go. Now, looking at the Saturday games, there's 2 of them, which is pretty good. If you think about it, that is just what we want, because that's going to be the last time we're going to see 2 games on the one day. So yeah, we're going to make the most use of it. And starting off with the first one, it is between Sydney and the GWS Giants. playing in the Sydney derby at the SCG, and this one, I mean, this rivalry is just massive. This rivalry consistently provides, and yeah, I mean, this one will be very close. Let's start talking about Sydney, and yeah, they had a very shaky season overall. They just had a brilliant start, then towards the late end, they started to get some big losses, but in their last 3 games, they did get some wins. So that did lock themselves a top spot, and I guess that was just crucial. Now they're heading towards finals, and yeah, the test begins there. And as for the Giants, same thing. They had a really shaky season overall, but yeah, did get some late crucial wins, and that has moved them up to the top 4 spots. And now, I mean, they did lose against the Bulldogs, but if they did win, they would have had to verse Port. But I think for themselves in this scenario, I think it would have been better losing. I think the Giants would prefer versing the Sydney Swans in Sydney rather than having to travel to Adelaide. So yeah, the Giants, yeah, they did lose to the Bulldogs. I mean, that was always going to be a challenging game. They did lose some players from injury. But yeah, and the Sydney Swans, they versed Adelaide. I mean, it was a fairly simple task. A very high scoring game, but it was pretty simple. But yeah, the last time these two teams met, and really the last 2 derbies that they played, Sydney got the wins. So could we see something like that happening again? I would say maybe. And I would say probably a high chance that it probably will happen. But when it comes to the finals, Sydney have been 0-3 against the Giants. So I don't know, who knows? I would really love to see a close game coming from this, and yeah, who knows? This might be the final of the round. We don't know. And yeah, another sellout, so the crowd will be there. But as for tipping this game, another hard one to tip. I see all the majority going for Sydney for this one, which makes sense. They finished first after all. But I think the Giants will have their full squad back, and if they could play a final, great. Then I feel like this could be the one for them. So I am actually, well, I think Sydney will most likely get this win, but I am going to tip the Giants to get this win against the Sydney Swans once again, to win and go through to the preliminary final. And yeah, I'm tipping them to win by 19 points, and I'm rating this game a 95. And now looking at the last game of the finals, or the first week of the finals, and this is a great way to finish things off, and honestly, the stakes are super high for this one. It's between Brisbane and Carlton playing at the Gabba in what sets up to be a massive elimination final between 2 of these teams. Yeah, what an interesting season both of these teams have had. I would have thought Brisbane were almost a top 2 lock, but they did get some late losses, and yeah, it cost them that top 4 spot. And as for Carlton, I mean, I don't know how they made it. Like, really, I don't know how. They had a couple of losses towards the late end of the season, and it makes sense. I mean, they did have some injuries, but I don't know how they made it eventually, and who knows where it could go from here. But yeah, this is a prelim final rematch from last year, in which we do remember. I mean, Carlton kicked the first 5 goals or something, and then they lose. So yeah, and if you go back, they did verse each other in opening round, where Brisbane did lead by a pretty big margin. I can't remember, it was 40 points or something, and Carlton just came back and won by a single point. So yeah, these 2 teams do have some rivalry between each other as of late, and yeah, who knows what this game could pull off. Carlton did lose their last game, as we discussed. They lost that, yeah, I don't know how they lost. And yeah, as for Brisbane, they did win by 20 points, but they just kicked really inaccurately. They kicked 21 behinds, I think, which yeah, they need to work on, because that can definitely cost them games. I feel like they're getting lots of opportunity for screwing, but they're not making the most use of it. And really, I mean, this is an elimination final. It could cost them. So yeah, this is just a really big test for Brisbane. And yeah, I mean, they're playing at home in front of a home crowd. And yeah, if they really want to progress through, this is a game that they have to go through. and make the most use of, because yeah, whoever wins will have to verse the loser of Sydney and GWS. So it won't be an easy next game if they do make it through. And as for Carlton, I mean, I don't know what they can pull off, and I don't know how much the injuries will affect them, but we'll just have to wait and see. So yeah, to sum things up, I think this will be a very interesting game to end the first week of finals, but I just think with Carlton's recent form, they've had many losses. Yeah, it's been going down here, and I don't know how they've made the 8. I guess good on them, but it's just going to be hard to see Brisbane lose this one, and really, Brisbane have to make the most use of this one. So yeah, to put it simply, I am going to tip Brisbane to get this win in the elimination final and play the loser of Sydney GWS. So I think they will win by 22 points, and I'm rating this game a 92. And just like that, that is my tips done and dusted for this week. I just can't wait. I mean, I really want the finals to start as soon as possible. This is going to be a massive final series, and yeah, really, I don't know what to expect. And yeah, this is just going to be a big test for all these teams. I mean, for the qualifying final teams, can they go through and go to the prelim? Or otherwise, if whoever goes to the semis will have very big problems, I reckon. So yeah, a lot of questions we'll have to ask, but we're going to wait and see coming next week. So yeah, I'll leave it here for today. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next time. Bye bye.